The pain of discipline transforms a man. So, human beings, I'm going to take a step back for a second before I go directly to the discipline part of this video. So, human beings, what are we all trying to do? Every single action we take, every thought we have, we're all trying to justify our experience. If you are spiritual at all, you'll understand that that's what every single conscious being is trying to do. And if you take a big step back, you'll realize that that is what the universe, that is what God was trying to do. He tried to justify his experience, his being. And what he did, he created humans. Because he was so perfect, so everything was as it should be, that it was just pointless. It's just perfect. So that's why he created human beings. He extended his consciousness, and now we're people that are all trying to do what he tried to do, which is trying to find the purpose, a reason for being. So now that I went through that, that's why we all are trying to get different things in life, whether it be having certain pleasures in life, or we want to go become more religious or spiritual. We're all trying to find a reason for living. We're all trying to have a meaningful, purposeful life. People go about it in different ways. There are better ways to do it. There are worse ways to do it. But that is what we're all trying to do. Alright, so now zooming back in. People have two ways of trying to justify their experience. Either they find purpose or they find fulfillment in the instant pleasures in life, which is more expedient, it's easier, or they go down the route of delayed gratification, where you have to work hard and then you get the goal. So what we're going to focus on, I want to help you understand how going down the route of what's easier is not the best way to find meaning, to justify your experience of life. If we look at the core things that people want, what do they want? They want the best health they can have. They want the best relationships they can have. They want the most meaning they can have. They want the most variety that they can have. They want the most certainty that they can have. They want the most growth that they can have. But we have different ways of getting to these needs, right? Everybody wants the same thing. We have different ways of going about it. Alright, so let's choose money for example. Guys our age, my age, from the age of like, especially these days, from the age of like 15 to 25, in our head, all we have in our head is like, I want to become rich, I want to become rich. That's what most guys our age want. And 99, let's say 80% of the time, they are like stuck in this loop of trying to find what's easiest, what's fastest, what they can do now, instead of building a long-term, stable business. Think about it. Everybody my age wants to become rich, unless they like have a weird belief that they can't become rich. But even then, they still try. They still try to become rich. But most of them don't do it. They don't. Why is that? Because they're afraid to go down the painful path where they have to grow out of their current beliefs, where they have to disregard the instant pleasures. They have to go and be disciplined, go through that pain of not seeing any results for a long time until they do. Once you realize that if you want to get results, the only path is going down this pain, going through the pain of discipline, then you'll realize that that's like you're wasting your time if you do any other thing. There is no way to avoid the hard work. There is no way. And anyone that tells you there is, they're lying to you. There is always maybe an easier way or a more efficient way. I'll get into that specifically at the end, towards the end of the video. But there's never an easy way. Things that are worthwhile are difficult. That's what makes them worthwhile. That's the reality of achieving a goal. But when we have a goal that we set, that we want to achieve, for example, making a lot of money, what we are really looking for is an emotion. That's why we have pursuit of goals. We're trying to fulfill a certain desire within ourselves. And what this does, this gives our life a sense of meaning. All right? And that's all we're after. We're all after that feeling that we're doing something for a reason, like there's a purpose behind it. People, men, they're afraid of pushing past that comfort zone because it's scary, it's uncertain. But they don't realize that once they push past that boundary, that is where the meaning, that is where the purpose, that is where the color in life comes from. That's where the enjoyment comes from. Once you push past, that's all we're trying to do. What a man wants to do, the bottom line is, what a man always is looking to do, he's trying to break through. He's trying to become free. That's just how we're built. So when you avoid going through that pain of discipline, avoid that barrier that you're up to, when you avoid that obstacle, you can never feel. There's a B. You can never feel. You can never feel that sense of fulfillment, that sense of completion. The fact that you have control whether your life gets better or worse is what creates all the meaning that there is. When you choose and you act towards improving your life, that fills you up so much more than the actual goals you're going, more than the actual goal that you want to achieve. That process of refining yourself, of improving yourself, that is what you're after. But you probably don't realize that. Most guys don't realize that. What we want is that struggle. Not the reward, but the struggle, the process. So that pain, that resistance to improving, that is the test. That's the test. That's the universe saying, if you push past this edge, you deserve to have this award. But if you can't, then you're going to suffer. You're going to be in more pain long term. I have two paradigm shifts, two different perspectives that I want you to take from this video. Number one, don't avoid the pain of discipline. If you have to work out, you go work out. If you have to read, you go read. If you have to meditate, you go meditate. You have to go say good morning to your mom or something, you go do that. Do what you gotta do. There's nothing wrong with doing something you don't feel like doing. And most people, they're like, if I don't feel like doing it, then I don't want to do it because that means I'm faking it. But think about it. If you don't feel like being polite and you're polite anyways, is that called being fake? I think that's called being good. That's like the definition of being good. When you don't feel like being good and you're good anyways, that's what discipline is. When you don't feel like doing it and you do it anyways, that is the whole point of discipline. Right? The second perspective I want you to take from this video is that massive action is a cure-all. Massive action can fix any problem that you have in your life. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. You need to have discipline. You need to go through the pain, that friction. But if you commit to massive action, if you make massive action a habit, or you see a problem and you think, that's the first step. You think, what is the problem? Get very specific on what it is. And then like, okay, this is what I need to do to fix it. And you go and do it. You go fix it as soon as you can. That is the habit of massive action. And you probably won't get it the first time. So there's this thing it's called zigzagging towards your goal. So let's say you have your goal, and this is you right now. This is like your level of knowledge. You take massive action. You go this way. Then you're like, oh wait, no, I need to change it a little bit. You go this way, this way, this way, this way. And then you get to the goal. You keep taking massive action until you get to where you want. That's the whole point. Instead of procrastinating and saying like, oh, I don't feel like it, you can like shred through any standards that you've had, and you keep going forward until you get to where you want to go. Take those two paradigms. Don't avoid pain of discipline. Go right through it. Take those paradigms. Thank you for watching this video.